I said, like, it looks like no one has joined us. So...
That's a lie. Lucky the audience has joined us because the mic is on.
Oh, lovely. Oop.
Tap my mic arm. How's that for a classic What's Up intro?
How long have you been belonging? Oh, ever since you got that damn mic.
Yeah, ever since I got the arm. That's me opening my bottle of water on mic because I need water.
Lucky is drinking a hot cider, and he put fucking whiskey in it.
Is that necessary?
No, but it tastes good.
Fair play. No, I still need castor. Okay. I'm probably going to once again be farming the Valentine's while we do this. Now I probably won't yell at it as much because I'm using whatchamacallit.
This guy is going to be playing Girls Frontline because I need to beat Arctic Warfare.
We're just going right there? We're going to jump right into it? Okay.
Yeah, why not? So, first off, before when I was talking about Arctic Warfare, I was like, oh, it's fine. Yeah, it's a bunch of fucking gimmicks, whatever. Yeah, it's fine. I can deal with it. I cannot deal with it. It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, see, I once I got Terminator Chan, I was done. I ground for some red envelopes, but I stopped trying to do the maps. The moment it went to night mission, you get equipment, I'm like, fuck you, no. Out of my face.
No, that is the entire reason why I say fuck you. Like, this map had a bunch of new and interesting gimmicks, and, okay, that's fine, cool, awesome. But as soon as you add all of those gimmicks, and then you add night mode on top of that, this becomes utter and complete bullshit.
Night mode's rough.
Yeah. So, like, for like a little bit of explanations, like we already talked about what all the new gimmicks were in the map were, but in Girls Frontline you have day missions and night missions. Day missions, you don't have any special modifiers.
Yeah, day is normal mode. You have helipads and bases. You recoup rations and ammo normally. Is there a hard limit on the number of echelons you can throw out?
There usually is, but it's like, yeah.
I mean, I know there's a support echelon limit of 2 per map always, but
yeah, but I don't know. Usually, like I think it's
they're
like
honestly
4.
they're usually gimmick free. They're the basic game mode of the game.
All right, and then you have night missions, in which usually you have a limited number of echelons you can use. There's a fog of war effect on the map, so you can't see other nodes unless you have a pistol. A handgun, in your formation, then you can see up to 1 node away. If you cannot see the node, you cannot use bases to like summon in reinforcements. When it is nighttime, all your accuracy is reduced to 10% of its original. And for some odd reason, this is when they decide to throw out all the fucking goddamn armor mods. Armored
enemies only exist in night, really.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's like a mission in the day that I've seen that's had armored enemies, but usually night. And usually nights are pretty bullshit on their own, but it's just enough gimmicks. I'm like, all right, I can power through this. When you combine night missions with fucking Arctic Warfare, it is just inane amounts of bullshit. Because here's the thing, I was griping about this earlier, a few days ago in our Discord. Because the way that night missions work is you get equipment that can help. Like you get let's see, assault rifles, handguns, and some machine guns can equip night vision goggles, which helps offset the.
Well, and I said this before. They're actually PEC 4s. They're not even. This is the funny thing. They're not even really night vision goggles. They're IR designators. They're lasers. So that means the girls already have night vision goggles. Otherwise, they can't see the beam. But the effect is their NVGs.
Yeah, the effect is their NVGs.
It's just somebody in China didn't think about this too hard.
Yeah, no, I always see the stats saying night, so I'm just like, oh, night vision goggles, because that's what you would assume. But yeah, so you can equip those to your assault rifles. Usually it takes up a slot where you put like a suppressor or like a scope, maybe. It's pretty alright. But here's the thing. Because the night missions are primarily armor enemies, you need AP ammo, which can only be equipped to sniper rifles and machine guns, which can't use night equipment. So they're still down to 10% of their original accuracy.
Now, machine guns, that's not a huge deal because they're huge rate of fire units. Also, where do shotguns come into this? They also don't get PEX, right? I think they don't get night vision.
I don't think so either, but I'm not really too concerned about shotguns because shotguns will shotguns are like pretty much like kind of like SMGs are pretty much a defensive unit.
Yeah, you mostly use a shotgun to block up your front line so the enemy cannot push in and kick your ass because they get to equip their own armor, and they're usually very tanky. Like SMGs are evade tanks. Shotguns just soak up damage and shoot back occasionally.
Yeah. I think their standard shotgun tag like actually hits multiple squares.
I think it does. They can actually spread because you can equip them with different types of ammo, like a couple different shotgun shells. Some are like slugs, which have, I don't know if they have a little bit of armor penetration, but they're a little bit more damage, but they're less spread. Or you can give them like the double-aught or triple-aught buckshot, which is just bigger steel ball bearings. Fuck you.
But machine guns, as I said, high rate of fire, but as I said, it's still, 10% of their accuracy.
Oh yeah, you see a lot of fucking miss icon.
You see a lot of fucking miss. And the problem is the big drawback of machine guns is they have long reload times. Because you might not notice it, but in Girls Frontline, the girls only shoot so much before they stop and do a reload animation. And machine guns,
they do actually have a secondary, I don't know if they actually call it ammo stat, but they have a stat for like how many shots they can do before they have to reload.
Yeah. I know, it's very gimmicky, and I enjoy it, but in these moments, in night missions, I'm like, ooh, buddy. And let's not even get started about sniper rifles, where, it's, big damage, slow fires. Every time you see a miss, you're like, God!
Yeah, no, snipers, that's really bad for them, because they have a low rate of, they're nukers, basically. They're not DPS. They are one big shot. This is why you often see snipers with, like, that special shot attack, which is like do triple damage on a single bullet.
Yeah. So it's like so that's like night missions. Like as I said, on their own they're difficult, but not impossible. I mean, like some people are just like, I don't want to fucking deal with them, and that's fine. Although they have an event in Girls Frontline coming up where the exclusive equipment drops are going up, and I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, because that's the thing about night mission. Night missions are not for T-dolls, they're for equips.
Yep.
And especially early on, they're some of the best way to get equipment, and I think every night mission map in the finale, like how every map has a special T-doll you can only get through drops, aka, you will never see this girl. Night missions have special equip drops, which are like super important and useful, and you will never ever see them because you have to farm fucking night missions.
Yep. But the good thing about like night missions usually is they're usually pretty fucking, well, they start off pretty fucking small.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know, they might be getting fucking bigger, because looking at Arctic Warfare, these night missions are fucking huge.
Arctic Warfare maps are, well, we talked about how badly laid out the Arctic Warfare maps are.
Yeah.
As is. It's like
honestly, I was doing the boss to the second chapter, and I almost, broke my phone in fucking half, because it took me, 3 tries to find a route that I was fucking comfortable with, just running. And then I get to the boss, and then I figure out that, I learned that, my girl's, targeting algorithms have gotten fucked up by this boss, so they just continuously target the boss. Do a fuck ton of damage to her, but makes her fucking, launch her special back to back to back to back. And here's the thing about Sanguinferous, dolls, bosses. When they do their special attacks, they become invincible for a little bit before and a little bit after.
Yeah, because they have special animations.
Yeah, they have special animations. So if you just keep shooting them if they're just being shot at while they're doing animation, they ain't taking any damage. And all the while, there's a whole bunch of fucking mobs around there who are just slowly chewing into my girls, because guess what? They don't have fucking worry about accuracy. They're computers. And I would literally get my girls just beaten down while I'm trying to figure out what the point is. Thankfully Camper, told me what to do. It's basically if you just move your girls, in the battle, it'll reset their targeting, whatever, and they'll start tanking out. And I was able to beat the second, boss finally. So I was like, yay, now I just got this last one. And then again, it's whole new levels of bullshit. It's oh my God. I'm okay with the armor. Just take away the night. the accuracy in the fog of war is not needed.
Yeah, night missions are rough, and there are a couple that are bad for it. Now, it's luckily there are some specific girls. You and I both have the AR that's good at it, and you have the other AR that's good at it, the OTS one, who's like, who was from a special night mission event that you had to do all the stuff for, and I was like, fuck, I can't do this. I still don't have a level 100 echelon.
Like, honestly, like, I'm not using, I have, 9S, was it 9A? 9A 91 or 9S 91? And, OTS 12, but, like, I'm not using them because, 9A isn't, she's only, like, level 80 right now, and OTS 12 is only, like, level 30.
Oh, yeah, no, there's that draw, but when they get leveled up, they are actually, no, Axe, you can level them, but you still have to do missions. Because you need combat reports. So you need surplus EXP, so you need to run missions.
What was I gonna say? So basically what I did is I pulled out all my level 100s, and I threw them in my top 2, formations, and we're gonna fucking end this shit. And, we stormed the field. Cause, like, yeah, leveling is difficult, and, leveling has plateaus. I think we mentioned this before.
A lot.
Yeah, as I said, like, basically you have to do the experience mode days in the training simulator, use that, and you need, to have level 100 dolls, so you get a fuck ton of,
Yeah, basically, once you cap your first echelon, you're set for leveling, because you'll get so much surplus EXP. Like, I have a fully upgraded data room, like, all the upgrades. I, took my time to use all the batteries for that. I think the rate is what, like 100% conversion on surplus EXP from T-dolls that are level 100 plus or something. It's nuts. So, and when you do that way, you can get your combat reports down to 2 hours per batch, and it doesn't matter however many you have, you can make. So once you're in that zone, you're basically set, so long as you have batteries. Because yes, by the way, producing combat reports requires you to use batteries.
Spend batteries. But it's not expensive. It's like 3,
it's not expensive. It's like 3 per report. It's not a huge deal, but it still takes them. You can also spend batteries to get adorable dogs and cats and other things.
But, like, the main problem with this is getting that those first ones up to level 100, because, unfortunately, the game, like, in-map, does not give a fuck ton of XP. It really doesn't. This is what blows my fucking mind.
Yeah, like, no, it's so... You're right. It really doesn't. Like, I've played I haven't done the last story map because it has that plateauing thing where it's just like okay, so first off, the combat level is a lie.
Yeah. No, it is a fucking lie.
They give you an estimate of how much power the enemies on the map have. That's an average. So you can have, if it says a map is like 15k power, there will be like half a dozen 2k power enemies and then one 20k power boss. And hey, guess what? If you have a 16k echelon, that 20k power boss will fuck your shit. She will wreck you hard. Sometimes you can brute force and still live, but a lot of the times, I mean, you're looking at a bang up. At the very least, I find that honestly, it's pretty forgiving if they lose. Like, I was worried about, affection hits. I'm not anymore. It's like, whatever.
It's like, as long as you, like, actually hit, like, I've taken some affection hits before, but, like, I've learned to, withdraw before that fucking happens.
Yeah, if you know you're gonna get toasted, just be like, alright, get the fuck out of there. We're done here.
Get the fuck out of
there. And for non-bosses, you have this thing called, insurance, which is, like, the first time your T-doll goes to critical HP, they get the fuck out. They bug out.
Yeah. Super useful. I'm telling you right now, I've used so many fucking, quick repairs this event. Like, before this event, I almost never used them. I have like 500. I still have like 500 of them. But, I'm slowly chewing through that because, I will say this about, Arctic Warfare. I'm glad it doesn't have any, like, stars to it to, beat it in a certain time, clear all the maps,
thank God. That's the shittiest thing, because that's another thing about beating maps is, sometimes you gotta get 3 stars. That's your primary way to get gems is to 3-star, story missions is one of those things. But to do so, you need to meet their specific requirements, which is, no echelon can go down. That you can't have an echelon fail or die out. That includes if they all hit critical HP and run away, because then they count as losing.
Yep.
You have to meet a certain number of kills. And remember that bonus friend echelons, support echelons do not count for this. So you can't cruise control with friends, which is how I beat most of the story anyway. Thanks all my Girls Frontline friends who have level 100 echelons. I gave you lots of FP lately. And then 3, you have to do an X number of turns. So it's a time pressure and a kill pressure and a also don't lose pressure, so
there's also
it's honestly like it's a pretty good challenge recommended for actually you have the right units and you're doing good at the game. It's just that often the rewards are linked to the 3 stars.
Yep. Also, there's the silver star in which you have to take over the entire map. That one doesn't have any constraints, but you have to have the entire fucking map.
No. And honestly, depending on what you're doing, it's not hard.
Yeah. But it might take a while because some of these maps have a lot of fucking nodes. So the fact that Arctic Warfare does not have these, I'm like, oh my god, I can abuse. Like, I'm sorry, my girls are getting kind of abused. Like, it hurts me inside. But goddamn, because as I said, because I'm feeling like usually I'm pretty good about planning my path, but with the fog of war, I can't see where the enemies are, so I kind of have to wander around.
Yeah, I remember that for that event that was to get OTS 12. All the guides were like, okay, you have to look at where the nodes are getting captured, and you have to just fucking guess where the boss is.
Yeah, no.
And hey, if you're wrong, guess what? You fucked it up.
So, let's go back into combat. Arctic Warfare is fucking rough. Like, I'm on the last chapter, Operation Homecoming. I started it. And I got fucked 4 turns in. And I'm just like, god damn it, I'm just gonna go clear out, get the red envelopes for other ones. Because the red envelope systems, I did not realize this earlier, actually has limited T-dolls in it. And I specifically
I don't know if they're limited, but it has high-ranking T-dolls.
Well, I've never gotten it, I know Type 95 and 97 were limited. I'm pretty sure, unless they got added to the pool. If they got added to the pool, I'm pretty
sure they're in the pool. There are not many T-dolls that you can build, and you can totally build 95 and 97, that are not permanent. So I don't know. There's a lot of T-dolls, though.
There are a lot. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Normal heavy timer 350. Okay.
The problem is just that, like I said, there's a lot of T-doll oversaturation. Mm-hmm. Fuck, I gotta look it up. But I got a new 4-star SMG, and I've never seen or heard of you before. When the fuck did you get here? But I randomly built one, and I'm like, okay. I guess technically this is an improvement over Thompson's, which I will tell that story in a second when we get to the whatever the fuck they're calling it. There's the points event that's inside Arctic Warfare.
Okay. Well, I want Type 95, and I don't have her, and if I can just get her as a drop instead of having to spend a fuck ton of time and resources to do it, it's like, I'll be happy with that. Yeah, if I remember right, the artist for Type 95 and Type 97 is also the same artist who did Otago and Takao and Azur Lane. I mean, you can see it in the boobs.
Yeah. Also the facial, but he's good. He do good work.
He did good work. God's work. But yeah. So, but, we're gonna get into. I think this is where we're leading into. So there was a points ladder. I won't say it's really a points ladder, but there was.
It's a points ladder. It's a typical points event for Girls Frontline. We've been having them for almost a year now. Because we got to be coming up on that first year of release.
Oh yeah.
So it comes in 3 phases. It has all this thing. They're not all the same, but there's usually similar, like X combat missions. Log in so many days. Spend so much of a resource. This one was all about ammo, which was easy because I got oodles and oodles of ammo to spend. Spend energy, spend contracts, build X rarity of T-doll, etc., etc.
Yeah, it's all this good stuff. Usually they usually give you like a good amount of time to do it. Like
it takes almost like a month, and it comes in 3 phases. So usually the reward is at like somewhere between 1,200 and 1,800, and it goes up to 3K. So you have plenty of points to get them, which is good because some of them are like honestly, spend 1,000 tokens, and you're like, that would literally require me to spend money.
It's like I see your game here.
I think that's for people who have money but don't have time to play, and it's just like you can literally just spend money to get tokens, which you might do anyway because it's probably got a limited furniture gacha or something with it, and you can just move on through.
But I'm gonna say my soul was lit aflame.
Yeah. So I should probably start because I think I started the trend. While I talk here, I'll we've talked before about how Japanese Twitter don't give a fuck, but I was in the middle of you talking. I was blindsided by just a random tweet update I will drop in mod channel because it's not safe for work. But I didn't want to share it with you right away because I knew it would distract you from talking. So I was just bombed by that. Just out of nowhere while I was minding my own business. It's my own fault. I followed him.
I love Rogawa. He's great.
Yeah, he's great. By the way, the voice commented on us. He's claiming that he only spends gems on cute stuff. He claims. That's basically the crux of it. So, we've been ragging on Voice for probably a couple of weeks now because he started tweeting about how he started Girls Frontline after he explicitly yelled at us for trying to promote the game earlier when we first started talking about it kind of tangentially on Let's Talk FGO. We, dug up that comment and reposted it on our Twitter so you can find it again. So that's kind of a funny joke we've had. A little Mr. FaZe Scrublord comes out and he posts. He's doing the thing because you get gems out of it once a week. He's been sharing some of the T-dolls he's made, and whether or not he likes them. He, like Lucky, likes WA2000. And so on. And then, I think it's got to be about a week ago now, because I think there was like a week left in the event. This guy comes out of nowhere and tweets that he's got AUG, the exclusive point event T-doll, already, despite the fact that he's new, right? And in fact, he was not doing good at Arctic Warfare because later he only just tweeted like yesterday or the day before that he got Terminator Chan from the Arctic Warfare event. Which
1899?
Yeah. Which is just beat the first set of maps, like the first part, which we talked about. Yeah. Which isn't that hard if you know what you're doing, but obviously he's put some time and effort into it. So the moment I saw that tweet was when I had to be like, okay, I've been doing this since day one, just the other day somebody commented that my user ID number was pretty low, and because I'm 1006. So yeah, we're day one players. We've been in there a while. We were in the open beta,
Actually, let me check my user ID.
I think you're a little, because you did it in the middle of the night, so I think you're lower than me.
Probably. Let me see here.
But so obviously that was like a bit of a sting to my pride. I'm like, okay, this fucking guy, he's just started out, but he's already got all the points, so I'm gonna crack down and do it. And I started.
Oh yeah, check this. My UID is 624.
Yeah, and we are probably only like, 12 hours apart.
Yeah,
in terms of when we finally signed up to the full version. But yeah, so when Voice tweeted this, I was like, okay, I gotta take this a little bit seriously because that's gonna hurt my pride a little if Voice, who has literally just started playing, gets an exclusive, T-doll that I don't. Also, I mean, AUG is the gun that Carl used in Die Hard. Come on, guys. Yes, that is how I decide all of my things. Honestly, like, I shouldn't say that. Like, I know nothing about Chinese guns, but Type 95 and Type 97 are cute, so I want them. But like 90% of the time, I'm like, oh, that's a cool gun. I guess they did something interesting with the girl who is attached to this gun's design, so I want that one.
That's why I love G41.
Like Contender is cute, but I also just want Contender.
Yeah, I need to start leveling Contender.
It's right. You finally got Contender, you son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that apparently Rinny plays too, and she is Contender, and I was like, because Voice said something about that. I'm rustled. I'll tell you why even more in a second. But so this lit a fire under me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the thing. I'm gonna just spend. I'm like halfway up the ladder of it, like probably at like 5, maybe not even halfway to AUG. I'm at like 500 or 600 or something. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. You start doing the calculus. You're like, okay, I can do this. I can definitely do this. I'm gonna do these, but they're gonna be a real pain in the ass because you gotta like do 100 combat missions. Even if you're spamming 1-1, that takes a long time. That takes a lot of time to do that. Now, luckily, your prior levels count, so when you do 50, you only have to do 50 more to get 100. But still, that's still
honestly,
50
more
I really
straight
do
up. I do like how the points ladder events are designed in Girls Frontline. Like, I honestly do. As there's something they're usually like as long as you're not trying to complete them last fucking minute, it's honestly a pretty chill affair.
Yeah, you can spread it out, but we were focused on other stuff. Like there were AL events going on. There was some there was some stuff with FGO we'd done, and also I was in the middle of my super heavy slog for Kingdom Hearts. I'm taking a much more relaxed approach to playing Kingdom Hearts 3, but don't worry, I've been working on that. We're gonna have some fucking thoughts. I got up to Frozen, so I have thoughts and feelings. But first, the fire was lit in my heart, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. So, at like 3.5 days left, I have to face up to myself and be like, I'm looking at the points, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. But the moment I said that out loud, I was like, no, fuck you, I can do this. So, that's when I actually got there, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking buckle down. I'm gonna spend, as long as it takes, probably a good, gotta be like, 6 or 7 hours a day, like serious time. Most of which just running 1-2 over and over again. And I used 1-2 because one of the things was rescue T-Dolls, and that has 3 enemies you beat up, and it has 2 nodes perfectly placed to summon support echelons, so you can get your 2 support echelons per map and 3 T-Dolls rescued in one map for no problem at all. Like, I literally couldn't do the repair T-Dolls one because my lowest level echelon wasn't getting hurt, period. Like, they were not hurt at all through all this grinding. But yeah, so then I start talking about my adventure, and I'm like, okay, in a day, I buckled down, and I got, like, over 1,200 points, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get this. This is the point where I think, lucky you cottoned on, and because I told you that Voice did it, and that I was making this push, and then you were like, well, shit, now I gotta do the push.
Oh, yeah, I did the push, because...
your push, I think, was much more dramatic than mine, because I'd been chipping away at this a little bit all the way, and then just kind of, like, focused on exactly what would give me the big points, the 50s and 100 pointers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
actually, I only can't scroll up in gacha games, but, like, you posted, like, after one day, you went from, like, 200 points to 1,000 points or something, like...
Yeah, no, I started from 200 points because I only had a couple of the, login bonuses when I started. And so basically, I did the, the hangover scene where the equations just pop up everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, I did that, and I, knuckled the fuck down. Yeah, in a matter of 2 game days, I went from 200 points to 1,900.
Yeah, so I went from, it was similar for me, it actually took me 2 days, but I went from, like I said, like, because I've been doing the logins regularly, and been doing, like, the give likes and stuff. I still didn't get 100 likes, which is weird. Usually people are all over that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I actually got, like, a few free points, like, immediately, because, yeah, I had the likes.
Yeah, that's always good for a few points, because another one is like other people's dorms, so usually you collect enough likes.
Yeah.
I jumped from, like, 500 to 1,800 in a couple of days, so it wasn't as dramatic, but we were both powering up, which I responded to when I actually tweeted that. My follow-up tweet is Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, because that's how I felt. I tweeted just, and I think it was Zero who was like, tweets you can hear, and I'm like, you guessed what my follow-up is.
Mine, I went with a more, somber one. Actually, I didn't post it on Twitter, but in our Discord, I said, alright, I completed it, and I, posted the, Ashita no Joe, resting in the corner, white, smile on his face. It was like, alright, everyone, I'm tired. I'm gonna go lay down now.
You did tweet something, because I know I responded to you.
Yeah, I used the share.
Yeah, just to prove we did it. And that was our quest. That's why I'm like, we talked about yesterday on Let's Tech FGO. We have maybe we haven't focused as hard on some of the stuff in FGO, because we were going whole hog on Girls Frontline there.
Yeah. The Arctic Warfare event still has a couple days left. I'm gonna try and beat it, like, because I'm not using guides. I don't like using guides if I don't have to. Because, as I said, there's no real, like, what's the word I want to say, like, randomizing strategy I need to use. I just need to find the best route and just fucking stick to it. That's what I did for the boss. I found my way. I got the T-dolls, and I was able to just rinse repeat constantly. Like, I have 2-4 down to a fucking science now. I can do it.
And that's how you beat Girls Frontline. You develop a science. That's like, for those, like, because there's another type of event where they do where, like, bosses drop shop currency, and you gotta beat the main story bosses. Like, for every one of those maps, I developed a science, which was like, okay, this person goes here, this person goes to this node, do these, like, 5 moves, we're done. Beat the boss, go home.
Set that shit on planning mode, ignore.
God, I love planning mode.
But, so, yeah, I'm trying for it. As I said, like, if I don't get, like, now that I know that T95 is not actually limited, if I don't get her, I'll be okay. You know, I'll just probably switch over to AR recipes at some point. I was doing machine guns because I want Amelie because she's an Opiloli and
I'm still. Oh, I should mention. I did not get the 5-star T-dolls. I got 4 out of 5. All of those were Thompson. Literally all of them. I'm a little nettled.
Yeah.
Just give me fucking contender. You've given me like 3 Grizzlies, and God knows how many Thompsons. Just give me contender. How hard is it for you to make this RNG decision game?
Like, I only think I got, like, not Thompson, contender, like, a month ago, I think.
It's rough. Well, and now I don't have any fucking, contract, because I got the spend 100 contract, so I'm a little low there. Hopefully, no event with, like, a special, rate-up build comes along, and I'm, like, fucked.
Fuck.
This is, like, my question, like, I want to try and build, in AL, I want to try and build, what's-her-face, Ryujo? Whatever, the new carrier. I want to try and build her rather than have to play the maps a million times for points. But I also know that there's a Britain event coming up with Duke of York and Victorious and lots of other things, and I'm like, fuck, I can't spend all my cubes. I need those cubes.
But I especially want Duke of York. Oh my god.
Yeah, Duke is great. Also, by the way, they've announced her costume. It's limited. Fuck you.
Fuck. I guess we're switching over to Azur Lane. Like, when I get done like doing Girls Frontline, I'm switching over to Azur Lane because I need to farm gems. Because I'm literally 150 gems away from getting Unicorn's live 2D skin. I'm all like, I'm not missing this. I said maybe next. Like, I passed on her I can never pronounce it. Keep fucking Chinese dress one because I'm like I can't afford it. I'm sorry. But I am 150 away. I just need to clear like 3 maps, like story maps to get it. I'm like, I want it.
Which in AL, that's a bit of a chore. You know, we've talked about how unfair Girls Frontline is. AL's high-level story maps are kind of annoying.
Yeah, they are. But talking about like little events and stuff, Azur Lane again coming out with cute little mini games.
Yeah, there's a little memory match game, which is adorable.
I want those fucking cards.
I know. They're so great.
They are so great. They're just fucking cute. I'm like, just give. But I said Azur Lane, like Azur Lane's kind of, I would say it's kind of at a slow spot at the moment.
Yeah, they're relaxing because there is a big event coming up next. You know, yeah. Winter's Crown.
So I'm working on getting my girls to where they need to be, enhancing, just running out of space. God, I am running out of space. I think I have like at least 170 unique ship girls in this game.
There's a lot of fucking ships.
It's a lot of fucking ships. And I'm slowly working on leveling them down. Like, I have a system. Like, I use my like level 70 commission, you know, the one that gives you the big XP to give XP to like my higher rank girls because they need higher. And I use the lower rank ones to do all my lower rank girls, but I only go from elite and above, and I'm working my way down. But the thing is, I keep getting more ships, which keeps moving the fucking. Yeah, see, I
do that I do that the opposite way, and also I just set it on other than because the beautiful thing is it won't level a level 1 ship automatically. You have to pick them. Yeah, it won't. Really? It won't auto. If you hit suggest, it won't put level 1 ships in there. You have to pick them yourself. You know, just in case, because then that way you don't level up spares if you're holding on to them. right? You don't waste slots on stuff you're not going to use, but this includes locked ships. So that's convenient that you can do that. But other than a brand new ship, I tell everything to suggest, and I just run it, and that gives priority to lower EXP girls first. So that's how I do my high, which means I have a lot of middle of the road ships, and I have a handful of ships that are a little bit cock-blocked. But most of my highest level ships are in my actual formations. So
yeah, like as I said, like all my fucking formations at least have like 2 to 3 like level 100 ships now. And like all my quote unquote main ships are level 100. The only one who isn't is Amagi, who's like level 92. I want to say 92, 93.
Yeah, my Amagi's cockblocked from max level because I don't have enough prototype bullets.
Yeah, I'm actually having to like force myself to spin bullets and stuff. Like Tira Pits was a level 70 beforehand because I was like, God, I don't know what to do with her. Apparently the thing to do with her is just put her in a fleet with Graf Zeppelin and just say fuck that third slot. Oh, again I say this because I let my aesthetics get in the way of fleet building, and when I build fleets it's always one faction. So yeah, I have a pure Union fleet, a pure Royal fleet, a pure Sakura fleet, and a pure Ironblood fleet. That's just how I roll. I like it. Yeah, but like my Ironblood fleet is right now is Graf as the flag, then she has Tira Pits on the side, then she has Prince Eugene, Z46 and Z23 riding with her, and they destroy stuff, and it's great, and it's lovely. So it's like that. I know people are like, oh, it'd be more efficient if you do this. Like, yeah, I know it's more efficient, but it's for my heart. I do this for love, or something like that. I don't know. What else I was going to mention about Azur Lane? Oh, yeah. They recently just came out with a couple more mechanics. They came out with the lecture hall, which is another way for your girls to get experience. Basically,
okay,
this is working
so, walk me through this, because I don't get it right away.
I haven't got it completely right away, but it's kind of based off how Azur Lane does surplus experience. So
okay, so you do need more. All right.
Yeah,
because I booted it up and I'm like, okay, I'll do upgrades, and it's like, oh, you don't have any extra. I'm like, oh, okay, so do I need to actually use my level 100s? And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you basically take your level 100s and whatever whatever experience they generate, a percentage of that goes to the lecture hall. And the lecture hall basically has an instructor, who you can see, who will give a lecture on depending on what ship class. So you could put girls of that particular ship class into the lecture hall, hit go, and those girls will gain XP. And of course, you can level up the lecture hall so that you can get like more of the more proficiency. That's what they call it. And hold more and all that good stuff. It's another avenue for gaining XP.
Which is good. Also, I think the beauty of the lecture hall is, unless I'm mistaken, you can put ships which are out on missions or doing other things in the lecture hall.
But like, not in dorms. They can either be in the dorms or in the lecture hall. They can't be in both.
Okay, so they can't be in the dorms, but that's the only exception.
Yeah.
They can be out on a commission and still be getting lectures, as far as I can tell. So that's
level 100s are never dead weight because they're fucking level 100s and they wreck shit.
Yeah, well, Axe is the same guy who's like, this guy's Bond 10, I can't possibly use him. Like, he's concerned about the efficiency of using his units. You and I are like, no, fuck it. What's my most powerful team? Get this mission out of here. Hood. Blow everything up. Hood. Shoot more. Hood was, I think, my first level.
I really hope we get the War Spy retrofit. So over in the overseas, War Spy has got a retrofit, which has basically made her better than Hood, which has basically taken her from one of the battleships that are least used, I would say.
Like yeah, she was wasn't much like similar to San Diego. She was a very underutilized legendary.
Yeah, but now she has been literally catapulted to top of the fucking line, and people are all like, "Damn."
Yeah, she's really good.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be interesting because I'm not entirely like Lucky. I do have themed fleets, but also my fleet number 1 is just my best of the best team. It's got like a lot of my golds and stuff who are just riding up there, and like this is all my high level units. Maybe once I get everybody leveled out, I'll figure out a theme for it. But so like Enterprise is in there, Hood is in there, South Dakota is in there, Belfast, I put since I did actually go, it was pretty easy. I crawled up the way through Portland Kai, so I got that done. So she's in that team now, and it's just Laffy Kai is in there as well. So I that's my all stars. But I also have my Royal Navy fleet, which is Queen Elizabeth, Warspite, and it's gotta be Lusty. It's gotta be Illustrious. Because she's actually pretty decent. Honestly, yeah, I need cooler frontliners. I need cooler Vanguard ships. Royal Fleet. You've put. I mean that it makes perfect sense for them, but you've put too many big gun battleships and carriers out there. I have enough of those. It's the same with like the fucking Sakura fleet. I have so many of those I don't know what to do with game. I've only got 4 slots. Give me more cool frontliners.
Yeah, my Royal Navy fleet is what I call Royals and Maids. It's Queen Elizabeth, Warspite, and Hood, and then Belfast, Edinburgh, and Suffolk. So my main ships are all nobles, and my vanguards are all maids. I'm like, yes, this pleases me. There's gonna be more maids soon, and it makes me happy.
Well, we already got a few more too, like Curacao and stuff.
Yeah, but
also
there's also going to be like
Sirius will be coming probably.
Yeah, and then Belchan, which is the child-based version of Belfast. I'm like, yes.
I also, like I said, I know we know for sure that Duke of York is coming and Victorious is coming.
Yeah, so it's like, see, here's the thing. Like, there's one thing I do want Azur Lane for is I want to be able to save presets. Because basically you get like your 4 fleets and that's it. But like I like switching up my fleets occasionally.
Yeah, and you can do that fairly easily because you can just tap a girl, pull her out, tap it again, put a new girl in. But
yeah,
it would be so much easier if you could like build formation presets and just be like, okay, use this unit now, pull everybody out of wherever they are, use them. But it's funny, but Azur Lane's problem is there's too many girls. You have too many. You like them all, and you have so few slots you can actually use them in, right? I feel like the game thinks that morale is going to be like, oh, you're going to have to make girls like take a break and switch up. You don't actually have to do that often. You only run into oil and morale problems if you're like farming constantly, high level all the time, right?
Yeah, and some people do that, but like this game is very casual friendly. Like I'll be honest, like. You don't have to put in, like, a fuck ton of time every day. If you're, like, playing every day and you just put in a couple hours.
Yeah, actually, that's what I do. Ale's my, before I go to bed game.
Yeah.
Every day, just about at the time of the daily reset or just before, I log in, I get everything I need done for the day, I start doing stuff, I get resets, run through commissions, and just do a few maps and move on. And if there's a serious event where you have to farm it a lot or I want to farm it, I'll pick it up, like, in the middle of the day earlier. But usually that's just, like I said, it's just how I relax and go to sleep.
So yeah, that's Azur Lane. So it's a good time. As I said, we got a new event coming up here pretty soon.
Well,
so.
I wanted to briefly also touch on this event because there's a couple of stuff going on. So there's a couple of like event scenes, but the actual like what is it? Solomon's Revenge? What is it actually called? Is it Solomon's Revenge?
I can't remember.
I don't know. It's the whatever. It's something about the Solomon Islands, but whatever the current story event is that actually has story is actually kind of interesting because. It once again touches on those little details about Azur Lane that are really interesting. Like, they show the event and Saratoga and Enterprise are hanging out, and like, despite being so small, Enterprise gives Saratoga a lot of deference, but that's because we looked this up, or I looked it up anyway, and I reported that Saratoga is CV3, Enterprise is CV6. In real life, the USS Saratoga was like 10 years older than the Enterprise, right? So
yeah.
That translates to, in Shipgirls terms, that Saratoga has seniority over Enterprise, despite the fact that Enterprise is, like, an amazing unit who's super high-valued and well-respected. So that was kind of cool. They also play with, like, Saratoga's, like, personality and, like, her interests and her intelligence, which is interesting. Lexington is CV... Lexington's younger, right? I think she's CV4.
Yeah. Yeah, because Saratoga is usually, a kidder, like, kind of an idol, a prankster. You see her fucking about. And then you realize, no, actually she's a master tactician. Don't scare her. Don't piss her off. You get fucked.
Yeah, she's very smart, is the thing. But also there are some funny interactions, because Portland's in the event.
If Portland's in the event, there's only one thing she's going to be doing.
Well, it's first of all, I realized why she's invincible. She says it herself in, I think, the chapter 2 story. She's talking with Atlanta because they're comparing their different views on sisterhood. Like, Portland is like, I can't think of anything else but Indy while I'm out on a mission, and Atlanta's like, you should focus a little bit better. I'm actually okay to be away from San Diego because I can hear myself think. And I'm like, ooh. AL knows what's up. But while talking about, whether or not they'll lose, Portland literally says, that's okay. I definitely won't sink until I can see my Indy-chan again. Even if I die, I will crawl my way back out of hell or something. I'm like, that's why she's fucking invincible. She literally won't stop. So yeah, that's once again, the writing is pretty spot on. Also, this is actually this historical battle they talk about. Axe mentioned Enterprise getting injured. That also actually happened. The Enterprise was actually damaged and had to go into port for a few months.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, it's like honestly, like a lot of the things, like the Graf Spree event, that was based off of real life.
Mm-hmm.
Because Graf Spree was a raiding ship. She would literally just go around and fuck up merchant ships.
Those darned dirty Nazis did that a lot.
Yeah,
lots of.
So like
attacks.
a lot of these things are like basically like because we're talking about the revenge. Because this current event happens after the Battle of Midway when Enterprise sunk Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiru, and a few others. I can't remember all of them.
Well, yeah, but basically the main carrier group was sunk. So
yeah.
This is about Zuikaku and Shoshaku are trying to get her back, basically, and they're supposed to be your targets. But you also have seen some stuff that's like futzing around, and you're like,
Yeah, so it's man, like kudo props to like fucking Azur Lane to taking like actual history and applying cute girls to it.
Yeah, no. Actually, that made me think about stuff because I didn't realize this until I looked it up. But because it's mentioned that Queen Elizabeth and Warspite are sisters because they are.
Yeah.
It's funny. Despite the fact that she was laid down second, Queen Elizabeth is Pennant 00, so she's the first Queen Elizabeth cast battleship. Warspite was laid down second, but she's Pennant 03 because both the Malaya and the Valiant launched first. So they were laid down later, but they launched sooner, which was funny. Well, actually, I guess the Malaya didn't, but still, maybe they were commissioned sooner. Anyway, it's funny how like the timing of building these ships works, right? Like you can order a run of battleships, and the first one you order doesn't necessarily get built first because they were all built at different docks. But yeah, there's 3 more of these. I mentioned them. There's Valiant, Barham, and Malaya, and that's kind of that's a thing you could actually work with. That would be interesting.
It's probably for game balances because there's a lot of fucking battleships and whatnot running.
It's true, but like you could come up with some funny stories. Like I looked up, like the HMS Malaya or Malaya because it's based off the Malaysian Free State. Like I was double checking some stuff, and actually there's actually an interesting note here because she was used as a consort escort a lot, and during one of their escorts, Malaya actually encountered Skarnhorst and that German name we can never pronounce. But those two, and her presence forced them to withdraw. So I'm like, that's definitely a major AL facto right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be a thing, right? That like the presence of this other huge, big shelled British battleship was like, shit, we gotta run. That said, some of them are also sad because I think it was the Malaya was like critically damaged by a floating dry dock incident and like had to retire. And it's like, wow, that's really sad. You're a multi-ton war machine that is like brought low by an accident, right? Like a lot of these hurt.
Yeah, but that's why I think.
That's right. The Valiant was damaged that way. I don't remember what happened. Malaya might have made it humanizing.
That's what we get for humanizing and personifying ships. Now we get sad for them. It's like, why? Ugh. I never thought I'd feel empathy for a giant hunk of steel, but here we are. Also, by the way, doing red envelopes in Girls Frontline, there's a reward that you get for doing 999 envelopes. I just got it as a random fucking drop.
You can.
230. It's the Type 56 TAC 1 Scarlet Sage thing, where she is
Do you have a Type 56?
I don't know. Again, like, I don't, like, I can remember ship names a bit better than gun names, because ship names usually are just names.
Honestly, I can remember most gun models just because I'm weird like that, but also, like, actually remembering who I have and what can get a little confusing.
Yeah.
Because they've picked some obscure... We talked about this before, the discussion of, like, God knows how many, 1911s and stuff I was covered with running the first couple maps, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, you run into this problem. You can get a lot of guns, and sometimes you forget what they're good for.
All right, let's see here. I actually gotta go.
That's a good question. Oh, did the Italians have a navy in the World Wars? Did they do anything?
Italian navy? I'm pretty sure there's an Italian ship in Azur Lane.
Is there an Italian ship? There are two kinds of French ships, which they turned into a whole event because there's obviously there's the Free Navy and stuff. Navy, I'll go look that up. I know there was. WW1. Let's see. It's funny. Was it Warspite?
Yeah, the red. It's the Regia Marina, the Navy of the Kingdom of Italy from 1861 to 1946.
Okay, so they had a navy. Were they doing anything with it?
Let's see. World War I. I'll just read the Wikipedia here. Before 1914, the Kingdom of Italy built 6 dreadnought battleships.
So they did what everybody did. They built some big fucking boats.
Listen. But they did not participate in any major naval actions in World War I, as they were positioned to intercept a major sortie from the Austro-Hungarian Navy, which never came.
Of course. Oh, that sounds just like the Italian Empire. Hey, so we built 6 bloody great dreadnoughts. We're gonna hold them at home port in case the Austrians invade. And then they never fucking do, because for some reasons, the Austrians decided to invade through the fucking mountains. Through the Alps. Why? World War I, why? Why you do this?
Maybe because the Italians had 6 fucking dreadnoughts waiting.
Possible. It's true, I guess. There's back and forth here, but still. World War I is an interesting study of history. Check out our Mages of War actual play, because that's based on a fantastic version of that war. And boy howdy, did I use some of these crazy dumb ideas in here.
Let's see here. Okay, let's see here. They didn't participate in any major events, but let's see here. Again, this is just straight from Wikipedia. During the war, the Regia Marina spent its major efforts in the Adriatic Sea fighting the Austro-Hungarian Navy. The resulting Adriatic campaign of World War I consisted of mainly Austro-Hungarian coastal bombardments of Italy's Adriatic coast and wider-ranging German Austro-Hungarian submarine warfare into the Mediterranean. Allied forces mainly limited themselves to blockading the German Austro-Hungarian navies in the Adriatic, which was successful in regards to surface units but failed for submarines, which found safe harbors and easy passages into and out of the area for the whole of the war. Considered a relatively minor part of the naval warfare of World War I, nonetheless, it tied down significant forces.
Yeah, but this is about World War II, keep in mind. That's where all these ships are from. Hey, fun fact, I was right. That was how Valiant and Queen Elizabeth were sunk, damaged anyway.
That's right, it is World War II. Okay,
Italian limpet mines.
World War I. World War II, let's see here. I'm trying to find out. Let's see, they had 6 battleships.
Okay, so Mussolini did in fact he went for the old Mare Nostrum. That's what the Romans called the Mediterranean, so it was like, we own this. The warships of the Regia Marina had a general reputation as being well designed. Small attack craft warships lacked radar, did have very good optical range.
The Queen Elizabeth was attacked by the Italian...
Yeah, I just said that, actually. You probably didn't hear me, though. The Valiant and the Queen Elizabeth, which are both Queen Elizabeth-class battleships, were sunk by Italian limpet mines. But those weren't other boats. Those were Italian frogmen got in the water and drove up torpedoes next to them and exploded. They did have 2 aircraft carriers. They had the Spariero, the Sparrowhawk, and the Aquila, the Eagle. Both of which were stolen by the Germans. Or taken over by the Germans. Interesting.
Oh, how about this? When are we going to get some Royal Australian Navy ship girls? They participated.
Yeah, that's a weird thing, because we have a couple of girls who are technically Canadian, because they were, like, I think not as Foxhound, but several of them were. And actually isn't Vampire... I think Vampire was only commissioned as Vampire when she was given to the Australians. I don't know. So that's the Royal Navy has a weird habit of they spread a lot of these ships out to the Commonwealth, so some of which got renamed and some of which didn't. So technically, we may or may not have not a Canadian or Australian ships.
Let me see. Let me pull up. Let me see the.
Okay. So lack of natural oil reserves precluded extensive fleet operations. They did have submarines. Oh, actually, I can just look at their ships. So, did we build anybody? We did have some battleships. We modernized a couple. The Doria, Littorio, La Roma. There's a Roma. That'd be great. BB Roma. They had, they've got more ships than some factions have in AL right now, so you could definitely do this. They have a lot of destroyers with names. They got a lot of torpedo boats. So yeah, you could totally put the Italians in. I'm kind of shocked they haven't. They're probably waiting for an event to do that.
I mean, they just filled out the Chinese fleet.
Yeah.
Like
finally, it took them like forever. Because actually, technically, the first two, the sisters who's Pinghai and whatever the other one's called, the High Sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Those were technically Russian boats that were bought by the Chinese and recommissioned.
Yeah.
But they added a whole bunch more Dragon Emperor ships. Yat Sun, some more like that. I can't. I can't. The names. They're not there. I rolled some of them too, and I did all the minigames. I'm like, I don't fucking know what these ships are.
Stop.
But yeah, so Azur Lane's fun. Hopefully they'll do something
Azur
with
Lane
that.
is fun.
Because obviously we talked about the French. There's that whole event where they have the two sides because they have the captured French force and they have the Free French Navy. So they have both those. There's one Russian boat in the game. I don't know if they're ever going to do more with that.
I don't care what they do, just give beta.
So yeah,
that is my mantra. I am going to repeat it.
Yeah, so there's the Vichy French Navy, there's the Free French Navy, the North Union, of which there's only one technical class member, because they sold the other ships. Actually, wow, I'm kind of surprised. I wonder if that's not more controversial. Apparently, the Chinese force in Azur Lane encompasses both the Republic of China's Navy and the People's Liberation Army Navy. Say that 3 times fast. I feel like, shouldn't that be a little more controversial? But yeah, okay, so I do think I got Anshan, Changchun, Fushan. Did I get Taiyuan? Yeah, I think I got all those guys.
I think I got all the Chinese girls. I think there was one Britain I did not get during the event, but I got everyone else.
Yeah, Chaser? Or no, Chaser was Chaser later. I don't remember.
It might have been Chase. Because it was all in the light ships. There was one elite. It was one elite girl that.
So there's Ninghai and Pinghai. Then there's the four ones they added, which are the four, which are based on the 4 beasts. You know, the classic thing. Mm-hmm. Changchun is White Tiger. Anshan is the dragon. Fushun is the bird, and that makes Taiyuan the tortoise. And then I don't think Yat-sen is out for us.
No, I got her. She's out. She was on the raid-up.
Well, and I didn't get her. That's too bad, because that's also another good art design.
Yes, it is.
And it's Yu Asakawa, who is Medusa. That's a terrible shame for me. Anyway, hopefully she's still in there somewhere. Or we'll get her on a rerun. I don't know. They do stuff. But yeah, so it's...
I said, they're doing this weird thing where they run we are getting rerun events instead of the original events.
Yeah, so basically what happens is the rerun happens in China and Japan, and then we get the rerun version of the event for the first time in the US.
Which I'm okay with, for the most part, I guess.
Yeah, no, it seems to be working out okay. Because we're getting a lot of enhancements early. It's just there are a few events that I would like us to actually get. Like, I'm real thirsty for the French event, because even though they're almost certainly super evil, those Vichy ships are super cool. I would love to get Jean Bart, and Dunkirk looks cool too. But yeah, Jean Bart's rad. The Vichy have the piratical theme. Also, submarines win. Research win.
I said we're getting there. We're updating fast in the Girls Frontline.
Yeah, Girls Frontline's weird. I don't know when they're gonna do stuff. They do a lot of like AMAs and stuff for like weekly questionnaires, but at the same time, I feel like their social media and stuff isn't very responsive. So I don't know. Like
again, Azur Lane's a social media top percent.
Yeah, no, they're good.
It's like they do interviews, they post art, they do streams, giveaways. They're on top of their fucking news constantly. There's jokes. Their Discord has its own culture now.
Yeah, and they have their own Discord with emotes and stuff.
Yeah.
Which you always see screen caps of, like, people do funny reactions whenever they post news.
Oh, that's right. This is lower. I can't brute force these fucking turrets.
Turrets! Robot house! Actually, this is more like Sanguiferous house! I wish it was that lighthearted. I wish it was like a fucking, you know, wow, the name of the Animal House. There it is. I was like, I wish it was like a pleasant comedy romp that is slightly insensitive in our modern day. No, it's not. Girls Frontline is like big sadness. It's the big sadness.
It is dark and it's sad and it's dark and it's sad.
Hey, so speaking of you singing, we're at an hour. I wanted to say this earlier, but I will say once again, we're never doing a 3-hour and a half episode again. Because we literally couldn't upload it to Patreon directly. I had to do like I had to do a workaround because it was over 200 megabytes and it was too big and it failed. So I'm like, okay, note to self, actually cut yourself off before that point. 3 hours is probably fine. 3.5 hours, little too much. So, yeah, I guess let's get back into Kingdom Hearts.
Right.
And talk about my journey. So, like I said, I got up to Frozen. The only reason why I didn't start Pirates, which is next, is just because it was after beating 2 worlds, so there's a big long cutscene in between them, and I was like, then I recorded this. But I've been taking it pretty slow since we got past the over hump of just getting into it. You know, taking my time, which I enjoy. And honestly, it's a pretty cash game. Like, you'd think it wouldn't be at this point, but it really is. It's a pretty cash experience. You could just relax, go cooking, fly some gummies, do some other shit. So I think where we last left off, I had just started Toy Story.
Yep.
Which sets a good precedent. It's a very good map. It's a very good world. The level design is great. The actual interactions with the characters are really good. And the actual interactions with the Kingdom Hearts villains, you know, young Xehanort is great. At the end, Woody absolutely stone cold dunks on Xehanort. And I'm like, yes, so Woody, slay.
He just takes that, you just see that one cowboy boot go down, and you're like, oh shit.
And it repulses the darkness, and he's like, I guess nobody ever loved you before. I'm like, oh shit, Woody.
That's damn. You just go, oh, you're going, oh, for like days.
Yeah, no, that's great. That 100, that's so Kingdom Hearts, and it so kept me, you know, strong in this game. Next is Tangled, which was paced much worse. So first of all, we kind of talked about this before. You had your long rant about the plots of various worlds.
Yeah.
So Tangled is just the movie plot. I gathered. That was pretty easy to tell. And that's not bad. The problem is, I think with the direction Kingdom Hearts 3 has gone, like, Kingdom Hearts 1, you did movie plots, kind of, but there was also always this underlying motivation of, hey, you have to find the keyhole and seal it, right? So there was always something you could do that was separate from the movie plot, which made sense, which is why those worked really well. Like, most of those are pretty tight writing. And then in 2, we started to get away from that, but usually even if the movie half of the plot was kind of cruddy, there was a part 2 plot, which if Kingdom Hearts 3 has, we haven't gotten to yet. But I feel like there's not, because they keep giving me this check marks, so I'm like, I'm not counting on that. I'm not counting that I'm revisiting these worlds, which is kind of a shame. But in 2, they split it into 2 parts, and usually, because of that, the way it's paced, the movie-relevant parts are very tight, and they're very short, and you get through them pretty quick. Like, I was thinking, like, in the Mulan world, you hit the Mulan scenes pretty quick. You have a pre-existing link because you know Mushu from the first game, kind of. But you move through the scenes, and you actually participate in them, and they happen kind of naturally, and they keep going because there's not necessarily anything you could do to stop plot stuff in that movie from happening, right?
Yeah.
In Tangled, they don't do that. They have this problem where they don't know what to do with you, so they just spend loads and loads of screen time basically playing scenes from the movie while you aren't even there. And they pace these out poorly because they use them. They have legit reasons to block you out of the story. Like, at one point, Marluxia sends you to sleep, or at another point, you get attacked by nobodies, like, after the festival. But the way those sequences occur, it's like they show you the big, great scene from Tangled, and then they tell you, hey, here, by the way, here's why you had to fuck off and do something else. I'm like, okay, you should pace that better, because that means I, as the player, am not doing anything for long periods of time, and that's not good. Yeah. That said, the writing in Tangled is very tight, and I like it a lot, so it was okay. It was just, there were a couple of very key scenes where I'm like, what the fuck am I doing right now? What is Sora? What are we doing? Why did we transition suddenly to this sequence? It's like, hours later, Flynn and Rapunzel are off talking in a boat. Where am I? Like, there's not even a scene where, like, Sora shows some fucking self-awareness and is like, I'm gonna let them get in the boat alone. If that happened, it went by real fast and I didn't notice. So, just...
Well, that's what, like...
Pacing and writing, guys. Earlier, like, work it out.
Like, earlier in that same world, like, there was a scene that I actually really fucking enjoyed. It was basically something that ripped straight from the fucking movie, where Rapunzel is literally having a bipolar episode about leaving her tower. And it's literally almost scene for scene from the movie, except that just you see fucking Sora...
Yeah, it's in the background, and it's a montage, and it works great.
And it works great. It's like, yeah,
and
it's just that. Like,
Donald and Goofy make little comments, like, about how she feels. It's perfect. And also, the first, like, flash away sequence while you're walking up to the tower and, like, they're having the negotiation while Rapunzel holds Flynn at a frying pan. That's just great writing. But it keys into, because he has a fucking internal monologue, he's like, I bet those three weirdos from before can help me. And it's like, it ties back together, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end, it blows it all away just so we can have these big showy scenes while you're not there. Like, put me in the fucking window.
Like, again, they're trying to tell the fucking movies. They're trying to tell the story of the movie, but not telling you the story of the movie either.
It's weird. Trust me, we're gonna get the Frozen. That's way worse. I think the Frozen world just sucks. I think it might just be bad, guys. But after Tangled, which was pretty good, I liked it a lot. The final boss was a classic Kingdom Hearts thing, right? The boss freaks out and falls to darkness and turns into a heartless, and you have this big arena with, like, the verticality. That was great. Yeah. That was a great boss fight and a great conclusion, right? Yeah. And it kind of works because it's like, okay, clearly something wrong is happening in this tower, but you also could have just not shown me those movie scenes and it would have made the same amount of impact.
Also, real talk, I'm not gonna lie, I really like the festival dance minigame.
Oh yeah, no, the festival... Honestly, Tangled isn't bad because you spend most of that just fucking around in the woods, hanging out with Rapunzel and Flynn, and it works.
Like,
right?
Honestly, that's fun. Like, as you travel for that first time, you interact with Rapunzel a lot, showing her new things and having fun with her. And honestly, I really liked that interaction. It was kind of laid back.
No, then and that actually makes you bond to those characters. You start feeling a concern, which is good, because I think for Kingdom Hearts first, Flynn gets stone cold shanked. Like, they don't show any blood, but he gets stabbed, and he nearly dies.
Yeah, that's a movie scene, but
but
it's not.
That's a very serious scene, which works for Kingdom Hearts because it's like, holy shit, this guy actually got stabbed with a knife. Nobody does that, and he doesn't explode until he's not at risk of exploding until he just is slowly dying throughout the sequence. But anyway, yeah. So Tangled was okay. I just felt like there were some weird pacing things where they're like, somebody in a suit was clearly going, "You have to show the movie scenes. We need to sell DVDs." Herp-a-derp.
Disney.
Yeah. That's what it feels like, is right. Like, it's like... But once again, we'll come back to that when we get to Frozen. So next up was... after Tangled is Monstropolis, which I felt like it went a little long, right? Like, there's a lot of ground to cover and a lot of guys to beat up, but it's still pretty fun.
Like, it's a very simple... Like, the story concept was very simple.
No, the story concept works.
It's like, you just need to get Boo to the door.
You need to get Boo to the door, and then Randall shows up, and it's like, oh, shit's freaking out. Also, I was immediately, like, when they mentioned the Unverse, I'm like, holy shit, it is a final boss, redux. Everybody who was a final boss gets in the Organization 13 club. Because that was, immediately, I was like, as a player, I was like, that's wrong. Whoa. So yeah, no, that's like that immediately set me off as like, okay, there's going to be a real plot in this world too. Like the meta plot in Tangled was very low key, and it was like, honestly, it's weird. Like, that's the one part of Frozen that does work better, is they definitely they push the stakes a little bit more on like, we're going to do something sinister, but it doesn't work as well, I think. So we'll come back to that. But Monsteropolis works pretty good because, well, like I said, I do think it runs a little long. It's still very basic, and it's long just because, hey, there's lots of gameplay. Go through these factory levels. Like Lucky said, Randall comes back, and it works out pretty good.
Yeah, because, like, at some points, like, the fucking, like, factory comes under attack, shit's exploding, like, you're, like, jumping
There's
from
fire sequences, but those are part of, like, your regular conflicts, too, so, like, nothing necessarily feels super hard, it's just all using the actual normal mechanics. It just, like I said, the factory is huge, you do take a while to just journey through it, all while you're doing pretty simple things, but it was overall it works out, and then there's a fucking ending, and it's like, you're like, oh, is this world actually gonna... No, there's a very important plot point that happens in the end of that world, which is, you run into Vanitas, who's managed to reconstruct himself, and he straight up tells Sora, hey, nerd, Ventus's heart has been inside yours for, like, forever. And, like, and it's so refreshing to having gone through this saga for so long, for that just to be like, yes, fucking finally, we said it, it's out in the open. Nobody has to, like, guess about anything. No, it's straight up, and it works pretty good because there's like a lot of that weird, there's a lot of this like weird interplay between Sora and Ven and Vanitas, and it's a great ending. I will say though, also, this is a thing that's happened with some of the voice actors. So for Mike and Sully, I'm like, I literally can't tell if that's actually their actors or not.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's like,
Same.
It's like 90% of the way there, but it's not quite right. Either it's like John Goodman, and I can't remember who did Mike Wazowski's voice, but it's like, either it's those guys, but they're doing a very level delivery, or it's a really good impersonator who stops just this short. And I'm like, you're weirding me out. Some of your delivery just doesn't sound right. Yeah, like actually, by the way, I learned this. Here's a fun bit of trivia. Woody is not voiced by Tom Hanks, but it's voiced by Tom Hanks' brother, who apparently does a lot of like Woody merchandise and stuff. He's done Woody's voice before for stuff, so that's real neat. And that's why he sounds so similar. So that's a good use of actors. But yeah, no, the like I said, it's ever so close. I don't know if just time did that or what, but it weirded me out a little in a couple of line reads.
Like I'm having that problem with like a lot of the Disney characters. It's like, is this actually on point? Is it not? Like, I don't fucking know.
And then I stopped to do 100 Acre Wood, which it was good to see all those guys again. But goddamn, that was a little front loaded. Let's load all of our 100 Acre Wood mini games into about 30 minutes all at once.
And it's just one mini game.
Well, it's different variations on a theme, but I don't know. That kind of brings me back to a problem I'm noticing, which is like, golly gee willikers, somebody in the game design team really likes mini games. And that's not, I don't think that's like a Disney decision, but you're trying real hard to cram like a special mini game into everything, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Like the dance thing, the festival in Tangled was great. That was a great sequence where Sora gets all his weird nerd out, and you just join a dance circle and it works. And it's pretty simple and it wasn't hard, and there was definitely no minimum score because it was just do this until you fill the bar, which was great. But yeah, the like mecha suit elements in the Toy Story world felt really on point. Those were really good.
Oh, those are real fun.
Monsteropolis had like those rail shooting sequences, which are also, they feel very natural. We're going to come to something that didn't feel naturally good in just a second. So, I'm finally here. Frozen. The world that I think everybody has been talking about negatively. So, they are correct. There is, in fact, literally just the musical number.
I actually found a comparison.
Yeah, I think you linked it, and I'm like, that's the same comparison video I saw tweeted about before. Yeah. Is it shot for shot?
It is not shot for shot, but it's pretty damn close.
Yeah. But they built out the whole musical number. What nobody told me was that that's like plot point 2 or 3, depending on how you want to count, right? And let me explain how you get to that plot point. So you arrive in a cold place. Sora's fucking cold because he's an islander. That's great.
Donald, do something. Best tweet.
Magic doesn't work like that. And he's like, but I'm fucking cold. Islander, guys. And I'm like, yes, that's great. I'm glad you acknowledged that. You see a girl running across a lake, and you're like, this woman is in distress. I, Sora, must help her. That's fine. So you bump into her. She's obviously, we're at like what I assume is like the first act climax of the movie, where there's a great big freak out and the plot shifts, you know?
Yeah.
After all that introductory shit, which we barely see. Thanks, game/movie. Movie game. You're trying real hard. But that's okay. Like, Sora jumps in to help. Elsa's having a freak out day. She freaks out. Larxene shows up and cuts you off and dumps you in an icy labyrinth with no save point after you watch like 5 minutes of cutscenes.
Yeah,
so that I'm counting those together as plot point 1, basically. There's technically 2 cutscenes there, but that's plot point 1. There's a girl who is in distress, and the organization is like, get out of her business, at which point Sora immediately concludes, I need to get all up in this business. Which would be my natural response too, but she dumps you in an ice labyrinth. So you climb through the entire labyrinth to get, I think, exactly where she dumped you in, basically. And then you climb the fucking mountain. And at the top of the mountain is the musical number, at the end of which Sora just goes, wow, and then gets kicked off the fucking mountain.
I actually remember what he says is like, I don't know what just happened, but wow.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
like, the only response you can have to literally the whole musical number happened right in front of you while you stood in the backdrop and just went, what the fuck am I watching?
I'm not gonna lie, I love Frozen. I love that scene, the whole Let It Go. I know people say it's played over to death, so I really like how they did it. But at the same time, I'm like, why did you do it?
Why did you put the whole song in here? And I'll spoil the ending of this rant, but basically I feel like either somebody in the office really liked Frozen and wanted to do a lot of Frozen stuff with it, or also equally and possibly more likely, somebody once again in a suit said, Frozen is like our most successful movie in like forever. You are going to do Frozen, but you also cannot fuck up Frozen. Which led to the very hands-off treatment of the plot, which is extremely hands-off. So first off, you get kicked off the mountain. You have a too long 2-part sledding sequence, which does not feel good. There was more interactivity in the honey slider minigame in 2, where you sled on a pot of honey. But that's not too long. It overstays its welcome. I'm like, that wasn't great for me, because you have no like interactivity. The controls are like super slide. Son of a bitch. Axe just said you have to do the sliding minigame to get Ultimate Weapon.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
I'll deal with it for Ultimate Weapon, but still, like, you have like 2 controls. You can move the stick and you move sluggish as hell, and you can jump, and like, that's it, and it sucks. It's not great. Yeah, Guide would probably be good for there, because I'm just going to do that for completion then. So after that, you're kicked off the mountain completely. Now, Lucky, you may have to fact check me on this, because I did 90% of this world after we recorded Let's Talk FGO last night, and I was super tired.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have forgotten some orders of some of this stuff, but I feel like you run into Anna and friends, and I think do you climb all the way back up the mountain and get kicked off, or is it only like part of the way, and then something happens you climb part of the way, and then Olaf falls apart.
Yeah,
and
you gotta fix it. You find out that faceless guy that you don't actually see his fucking face has fucking Elsa, and he's going down the mountain.
That's right.
Again.
Okay. Yeah. So,
but you are definitely heading back up the mountain again to get back to that.
Yeah. So that solves an earlier question. Where later I was like, "You've got to find Elsa. We're going back down the mountain." I'm like, "Wait, did I miss where we're actually going down the mountain?" Okay, no, I didn't. Like I said, I was a little tired. So you climb up the mountain, and then you got to fix Olaf, which is a sequence that also, while super funny, takes a little bit too long. I'm glad that after 3 tries, they just were like straight up, no, his body's over here. And I'm like, okay. All right, game, I got it.
I'm pretty sure that's what they do when you've literally chosen every single other one, which I'm pretty sure I did. But I kept bringing them back anyway.
No, the way it's built is definitely like you're not going to find the actual body first. Maybe not before you find all the others. But the sequences were funny, so that was kind of good. But yeah, just in general, I feel like this world is, like, it didn't make me want to see this movie. It did not necessarily endear me to these characters. It's just, like I said, it's very hands-off. Because after all that, you go part of the way up the mountain again, you fight the snow golem boss, which takes way too long, because he's got armor and he's got so much HP. But whatever, and I think maybe they're trying to psych you out into thinking it was the final boss.
You fight the Ice Golem boss, the first time you make it up to the Ice Palace.
Okay, wow. I don't feel like that was the order of things, but...
No, wait, no, that's right. You get to the Ice Palace, you get knocked off, you make it up again with Anna and Elsa, you get knocked off again, and then you start your way up again.
Yeah, and about halfway up, then you have that fight.
Yeah,
it's really annoying. You have to climb this mountain like 3 fucking times.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Which is just so good. That's good. I was like, I feel like I climbed this mountain 3 times, but I'm not sure where the plot beats go in there.
Yeah.
Listen, it's an allegory. Your life is climbing the mountain. You will never not be climbing the mountain, and it kind of sucks. And then after the boss fight, you immediately decide. Now that's where you're right. That's where faceless guy you don't know. I believe according to the list of characters, he's called Hans. But how would I know this, Jiminy?
He's in the fucking movie.
I know,
again.
But I figure, I know. I think I recognize his character design. I'm like, I have theoretically seen that he's in this movie, but I'm like, Jiminy, how the fuck did you learn this guy's name? Does he have a line? I don't remember him having any lines. He definitely did not introduce himself to me. I theoretically, from some incidental dialogue, I picked up what the fuck was going on with him. And they cover him in darkness so you can tell that he's a bad guy, so you can kind of figure out that something's wrong there, right? Mm-hmm. So they telegraph it hard enough. But like I said, I feel almost no attachment to these characters other than, I don't know, they're funny.
I don't know about you.
Got some issues.
I feel a bit of attachment to Elsa, but do you know who I feel the most for in this whole thing? The fucking Ice Golem.
Oh yeah, no, we bond with that guy super great. I think he died at the end too, and it's super sad. Nobody talked about it. Well, I think he took a bullet for me.
He comes back when you visit the world, but...
Oh, okay, that's good. Thank God. But in the way the story's presented, he totally takes one for the team and just flies off into darkness. We'll talk about that in just a second. So we've climbed this mountain 2.5 times, and now we're going back down the mountain for some reason, and then you figure that Elsa's being kidnapped, and you're like, shit, we gotta go down the mountain. Then the Ice Golem joins you, and it's super funny, because you can tell what he's after. Then the game has a snowstorm mechanic, which serves no purpose other than to slow you the fuck down again.
I thought it was interesting, but no, it's just totally...
Yeah, it's an interesting concept, but it's like, God, you're just... It's just a QTE thing, but also you can fuck it up if you don't walk in the right way, because you're slow, you can't roll or anything, and it's like... And then at the end, the snow golem stands in front of you for the last, 5 feet and blocks the wind anyway. Why didn't we just start like that, guys? Use your brains. Also, Goofy's shield stops fire. It doesn't stop snowstorms? Come on. Like I said, I feel like either somebody was, telling them, you have to linger on Frozen, but don't fuck with anything that happens in this movie, because it's like I said, it's one of our most successful movies in the last, 10 years or whatever. Or somebody really liked Frozen and didn't want to fuck with anything because they really liked it. The aesthetics of the world are cool. It's just, why did you make me climb this goddamn mountain so many times? It's because it's your only goddamn asset. It looks really good, but Christ, even Frozen had the multiple parts. There's the tower place that's got that kind of cool different aesthetic. There's the whole forest, which goes through a couple different areas. And then there's the actual, you can visit the town a little bit.
The forest and the marshlands. I remember the marshlands kind of.
Yeah, there's a marsh too.
I got lost in there.
Yeah, because there's no map right away. There's also there's a rocky part of them. There's a mountainous area with this red rock you gotta climb up and down. It's really neat. I like how they balanced that out. Frozen is not balanced. Everything is just cold and rocky, and you have to climb this mountain a lot. Have I mentioned how much you have to climb the mountain? It bothered me a little bit. I love the mobility that Sora has, but at the same time, it's God, guys, just why am I doing this so often? Why did I have to climb the snow labyrinth, then climb the mountain? Yeah, it feels like they're trying to kill time, which is I've heard people talk about how the pacing's good. This world is not paced well. Anyway, after all that, you come to the end, everything's frozen, you run into, what's-his-face, Kristoff, and he's like, Herpadur, and like some other dude, who we can tangentially guess, thanks to Jiminy's journal, that he's actually that huge douchebag who does bad stuff later, or in 5 minutes, but... We turn them around and we go to the thing and then we see the whole thing play out. I'm assuming this is literally the scene from the movie where, even though Anna's dying of maximum cold poisoning in what is actually a super cool effect I don't think they show you enough of, but the idea is cool. She takes the bullet for Elsa, which breaks that guy's sword. Then he falls into darkness and darkness eats us, so we can go to a perfectly round giant boss dimension, I guess. Here's my problem. On the one hand, this boss is aesthetic as fuck.
Yeah.
This sequence is so cool. Like, the actual design for Skull, the White Wolf Heartless is cool. The attack he does where he jumps into the sky and, like, darkness literally rains down on you. That's boss. That's like a Kingdom Hearts 2 callback level thing, right?
Oh, especially when you get up and you and Marshmallow are literally holding up the ball like, no! And you're like, yes!
And you break it and all that stuff. But this is something I realized. A lot of these big bosses in Kingdom Hearts 3 take place in these weird, relatively flat circular arenas. Like, there were some buildings in it, but Toy Story was like that, which was a little weird, but you did a weird teleport thing. So it kind of worked because you rode on the boss anyway, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, it's a flat area, but it had all the building blocks and shit around it, so you can, like, run
but
you
also, the whole point is you jump on the boss and you kind of ride with him, so that didn't really bother me. I just started noticing it. Entangled, it's not so bad.
I mean, it's a set piece battle.
Right,
like,
it's Tangled, it's a set piece, and that really works.
Yeah.
Monsteropolis is a square, not a circle, but also, yes, it's very... But the boss is kind of designed to play with that. This was when I really noticed. I was like, wow, gosh, we're not being really creative with our boss areas, are we? Like, There's only a little bit. The boss designs are great, but I feel like... Because, like, when I think about big landmark Kingdom Hearts bosses, I don't usually think of fighting Heartless in these, like, round, featureless arenas. That's like an organization boss, or like fighting Riku, right? Like, that's fighting.
I always remember fighting. I remember fighting the Heartless and Beauty and the Beast castle, like Kingdom Hearts 2. Like, that's one that I always remember, because I always remember
that. And that is a round ballroom, but that's got a lot of interactivity with, like, the chandeliers and the pillars and stuff. Like, that boss makes that arena come alive.
I'm trying to think of, like, other ones that, like,
the Ground Shaker is really memorable to me from Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh yeah, the Lion King one, yeah.
Which is super cool.
Like, the arena was the boss.
Yes, the boss was huge, and you had to, like, run up and jump on his back. I guess the Mulan one was kind of limited, but that also had that verticality, because that's the dragon, right? And you have to, like, ride up on the air and jump on his back. So some of them have been simplistic, but I just feel like I'm like, these are a little oversimplistic, some of them, but they're still, the actual boss fight was super cool, and that's just, like, to me, it stuck out as another thing. It was just like, I'm noticing this now. I'm noticing a trend here.
Have you finished the Pirates of the Caribbean world yet?
I haven't started Pirates yet. No.
Okay.
Because, like I said, there was I could have done that today, but there was a big long cutscene after I beat Frozen, because I beat 2 worlds. We got to unlock 2 more. Which if I'm understanding it right, the one after Pirates is Big Hero 6, which I'm super excited for.
Yeah.
But yeah, so after that, you beat the boss who sucked you into darkness for no reason, and then you unsuck from darkness. Larxene taunts you a little bit in a time-space bubble, which, okay. Whatever, you gotta get the meta plot across. I guess both Anna and Elsa can be princesses of heart now. Which I do like that they introduced the idea that, like, okay, so the power doesn't stay with those characters aren't necessarily eternal. The power to protect the actual 7 shards of light doesn't necessarily stick with those characters forever. It can move on, which is what the organization is after, which is like, hey, if you don't summon 7 Guardians of Light, we're going to need the 7 Pure Hearts, which we're safeguarding. Also, another thing I did actually like about the writing was, at the beginning, they actually play up that Elsa's, like, on this precipice, right? Like, her heart could fall into darkness, or it could be pure light. And that's actually, like, as part of, like, a Kingdom Hearts writing thing, that's super dynamic. I don't feel like the rest of the world writing did a lot with that. It's just Larxene shows up at the end and is like, oh, herp-a-derp. They both turned out to be light. That's cool. And the only important thing she says is she pseudo-lies to you and says that they have all 13 darknesses lined up, which kind of lights a fire under everybody. But the sequence itself is just like, they hug it out, and it's fine. A typical Disney save. All the ice melts, at which point I was like, aren't we standing on an ocean? Oh, there's a boat. Thank God there's a boat, because otherwise that would have been bad. Don't know where that boat came from.
But hey, it's a boat.
It works. But also, like I said, that's when the snow golem takes a bullet for you. He jumps in the way when the darkness explodes, and he flies off into nothingness, and I'm like, he's fucking dead. He died. And nobody was sad.
I was sad.
Well, yeah, it's sad. I was a little tore up, because that, like I said, that guy's actually kind of dynamic, and he interacts with you. And, like, even though you just beat him up, you build a little bit of rapport.
He lets you he lets you ride him and get spikes, and you go around and smash it.
Yeah, no, his team up attack is really cool, and also he like catches the ball of darkness with you, right? He's only with you a relatively short amount of time in the level, but you really bond with him.
He was a good boy,
the goodest boy, good snow boy. And then the map just ends. It's just like, winter's over.
Bye.
Elsa unfucked it. She figured out how to de-ice. She figured out she had the frost setting. She turned it to defrost, and we're out. And we're like, okay. And then there's a
interaction. Disney has just like announced Frozen 2,
True.
And it looks good. So
yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Like I said, the playing Kingdom Hearts didn't necessarily engender me to watching this movie, but I figured I'll probably pick it up sometime and watch it because playing the Tangled World was like the writing on this is really slick. I want to see more of this. Like I want to actually watch this movie, even if I know the beats now. I want to actually see it because I feel like the animations, the dialogue will be worth it. Like I said, Kingdom Hearts 3 did not sell me on Frozen at all, but I feel like since people actually like it, I should actually take some time to see it for myself now, and kind of even then maybe I can fill in some plot holes that world didn't give me because I feel like because we keep getting kicked up and down this mountain. Never mind that the characters managed to magically teleport around the fucking mountain. I feel like we miss a lot of these. Like I said, we start at like the first act turn. And then some of the second act stuff happens to us, but also we fall off that mountain like 3 times. And then obviously the third act stuff happens. I feel like we're missing a lot of that movie. And it's very weirdly paced to me. Like I don't know what they were thinking when they were designing that, right? Like the scenes aren't necessarily strung together really well.
Nope.
And like I said, they make you climb that goddamn mountain so much. So we'll see what Pirates does. I know, like you talked about, how that is a similar kind of a where you fuck off and do your own business, and then you have the finale. I'll see how that feels to me pacing wise.
Like honestly, like the Pirates of Caribbean world is literally like 80% you faffing about.
And honestly, that's not terrible if it makes sense.
Oh no! Like they actually straight out say it's like, all right, before you go, you need to make sure you're strong enough. So let me go blow up some ships so I can upgrade my ship. Which actually has an import because you use your ship in the final.
Yeah,
battle.
No, like that follows a logic, and actually, that's honestly a really good way to make Sora fuck off from the plot for like a good 60 minutes. I think. I'm trying to think. I don't remember Pirates 3 super well, but I think that's like the time gap from like we sail over the edge of the world, we get Jack back, and then we have the final confrontation. We gotta fuck around for a little bit. 60 to 30 minutes. I like it.
I said, you have no idea what's going on in the story, but who cares? You're a pirate, you got a ship, and it has cannons!
Yeah. But yeah, so, like, I'll get into that, and I'll continue. I like that the meta plot is actually going somewhere, because at first I was like, Marluxia, Larxene, you guys tried to cut and loose from you were gonna flip on the organization. Why are you here? It's like 2 hours, but 2 hours later, it's like, oh, there's actually a thing here. I will let this story continue to develop. They actually give Larxene and Marluxia nobodies who are clearly their commanding, which is kind of cool because I don't know if we met the ninjas and reapers before, because I don't remember them at all. But they're neat. That's neat that they have their own because everybody does. Otherwise, Luxord has gamblers.
Yeah.
Demyx has dancers. Etc. So on the one hand, I'm like, God, there's a lot of. Larxene even makes fun of this in the dialogue. God, there's a lot of old Organization 13 members in the true Organization 13. But Xemnas supposedly has a logic, so I'm going to let it ride. I just like Larxene, I am deeply amused that they picked fucking Demyx again. That slacker.
Been benched!
Also, I gotta say, as much as Larxene is a straight-up sadist character, she is that classic female villain archetype where she just hates everybody and wants to see everybody suffer. At the same time, her bants are great. And she just, she is constantly dunking on everybody. And especially when she's just slamming Demyx for being such a trash boy failure. Because he is. That slacker was so useless. And also his parts of Kingdom Hearts 2 were really hard for no reason. Dance, water, dance. Fuck you. That's just great to just see her go all out on the other villains. But yeah, no, the meta plot stuff, it's funny because only some worlds do they actually work it in. Like I said, like Monsteropolis really worked in. Arguably even Toy Box really worked in with Young Xehanort. With Tangled and Frozen, less worked in, but that's probably a plot thing, obviously, too. Because they're based on the movie plots.
Those were more like, hey, let's sell these princesses and their lights and shit. You know?
Yeah, well, fuck, we need more princesses. I do love that they explicitly, like, Sora in the in-between cutscene is like, wait a minute, Kairi didn't pass on her light, right? So she's still one of those pure hearts, and they're like, yes. But also, she's on our side anyway, dumbass, because she's gonna use a Keyblade. And we're like, okay. But hey, you tried. You addressed it. Sora, you thought with your noggin. Also, I do think it's a little weird that people don't... The rest of the characters don't seem to have got what I picked up, which is, whenever they talk about Aqua and Sora says, I'll save her, that's Ven talking.
Yeah.
They make it very obvious the second time it happens, because they, like, zoom in on his heart and they don't show his eyes. That's Ven talking, guys. And they just told you, Sora just communicated to you that Ventus's heart is inside his. None of you pick up on the fact that, gee, maybe that's why Sora is speaking weirdly out of turn for no reason. Also, I will say this, though. I'm still confused. How the fuck is this going to get me the power of waking? I don't understand it. I really don't understand what the power of waking is in the first place, but the whole Mark of Mastery exam was to go to sleeping worlds and free sleeping keyholes. Why am I going to awake world? Whatever Yen said.
You're not even doing anything with keyholes. You're just literally wandering around, chilling with your bros, meeting friends, fighting bad guys.
Basically, I'm going wherever the organization is, and I'm trying to rain on their parade. That's, see,
you don't even know
I think Yen Sid has it wrong. Sora's power isn't the power of waking. Sora's power is the, power of foiling. He foils your plans. Even when he's not trying. He's just in there, foiling your plans.
Like, because remember, he goes to this world because he says, oh, I'll go where my heart leads, and just points his key, a wormhole opens. So apparently his heart knows where the fuck he's doing.
And, I mean, in some senses that kind of makes sense, because where's he being led? He's being led to old organization members, and he was led to Vanitas, right? So that kind of makes sense. I'm not sure how, like, Roxas, Xion, and, Ven would have superhuman knowledge of where this shit is happening, but whatever. It's Kingdom Hearts. That's how hearts work. They know shit. Ven really wants to go help out Aqua, and I can see why after Ansem Stone Cold Dark blasted her into the water, and I'm like, that's sad. I miss her already. But yeah, we'll get out there. It's a whole thing, and I kind of follow what they're doing, but yeah, the meta plot movement is very stop and start. Because, like I said, a lot of them aren't tied in super tight to these worlds. It's just, like, basically, you bump into, like, Frozen is a good example. You bump into Larxene at the beginning. She yaks on about how Elsa could be dark, which they need, or she could be light, which they also need. So, hey, whatever. And then you go basically all the way to the end, except for that second part where she kicks you off the mountain. Like a bitch. And also, apparently, she has cold lightning now. I don't know why that is. But she also does freezy lightninging stuff. Maybe she's a storm elemental now. Because the way the Organization 13 guys, that was translated as elements, but it's way weirder than that. It's like, they have like certain conceptual strengths, which are, some of them are clearly elemental, but also there was shit like space, time, nothingness, you know? So, they were a little loosey-goosey to begin with. But, she kicks you off the mountain, and then at the end, she stops to taunt you. She doesn't actually stop you from doing anything because they got what they wanted. They found 2 more Hearts of Light they can use in future, should you fuck up. Which, obviously, I get this again. They're trying to drive Sora to find the 7 lights faster, because they're motivating him that way. That's cool. That plan works, Xemnas. / Xehanorts. You're working on it. It's good. But, yeah, she literally shows up to taunt you and, like, drops the breadcrumb that they've got 13 darknesses, and that's all you get metaplot-wise out of that world. And it does dovetail immediately into the follow-up cutscene, but still, it's like, there's so little happens there. Tangled is arguably even less. While Marluxia does more, he also Stone Cold stops you. He stalls you. I just realized that. Both times, those assholes stall you. Which is weird, because Young Xehanort doesn't stall you, he actually gets in your fucking way. Like, he doesn't just stop you, he's like, hey, I'm going to do my evil plan right now in front of you. I'm not just here to watch. And it's like, okay, you're going to do stuff, I'm going to flip you. But again, I think we've talked about that, where the writing in worlds where it's being original feels much better and much more natural than the movie ones, where it has some scenes which are very forced. Of a movie plot. You're constrained, but also, like I said, like they shoehorn the scenes, which is not good. They should relax a little bit more. Like I said, the Kingdom Hearts 1 writing is way looser and better, because you hit a lot of these big movie scenes, but also you just, like, after you're done with them, you also go off about your own business, right? Like, think about Alice in Wonderland. What do you do there? It's the scene where the Queen of Hearts is going to execute Alice. Okay. You go find some evidence, you stop that. You fuck off, Alice goes missing, because that's the meta plot, because she's a Princess of Heart. And then you fight a big Heartless and seal a keyhole. Done. That hit the movie plot points, but also actually moved through the Kingdom Hearts stuff. And then some of the best and most memorable worlds are the ones that are, like, directly integrated into the meta plot, like Neverland in Kingdom Hearts 1. That's right in there with the actual plot that's going on with Riku and Kairi and stuff, and that's perfect. That's super well written. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know why exactly it turned out that way, but I think that the Frozen world is just bad. It's not good. They tried, but I don't think that. And maybe they did whatever they were aiming for in the writing room, in the meeting room, in the developing room, whatever. Maybe they hit what they were going for. As the game came out, it didn't work. It did not land like I think people wanted it to land. Which is a shame, because they very clearly put a lot of time and effort into it, because it took fucking forever. And yeah, I think you mentioned this, but they have fucking snow effects, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you step and you leave footprints, and if you, like, slow walk, you leave a trail. If you roll, you, like, leave a big smudge. Like, they put all this fucking programming effort into building the snow engine, and it feels kind of like a waste, because it's like, I don't want to fuck around in the snow here. I have to climb this goddamn mountain again with this mountain. No, I'm not going to let that go. They make you literally climb the mountain like 3 times. Why? Why you do this? Shake my head. But that's where I am with Kingdom Hearts, and like I'm glad you're here for me on this journey. We will eventually work through this. Probably by next week I'll be done, and we can like schedule our actual like big discussion episode on the whole thing.
Yeah. By the way, how are you liking gummy ships?
They're fun. For the first time I had to actually, I think, go out of my way to make sure I hit some of the treasure spheres and stuff, because before you can get to Frozen, there's that one boss who's like the Frozen thing, who's like an ice castle Heartless in space.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was just kind of tedious, so I was like, okay, fuck, I gotta go beat this up and get like some of my higher level blueprints rounded out so I can like have a little bit better of a ship, just so this doesn't take forever.
Oh man, excuse me.
Which was okay, but otherwise, yeah, no, they're pretty fun. I like the levels. Most of the fighting is pretty clean. The navigating's pretty good. The building dummy ships is still really tight. Like it's really great, and they give you a decent variety of parts and like mechanics. Like the fact that they keep adding to like the different kinds of weapons, which do different things. Like water is a whole new series that's added. That's cool. So I it's great, and I love that they have a lot of patterns, and you can play a bunch. Like I've got my personal gummy ship is like a vaguely space plane kind of thing, but it's like camo pattern, but it's gunmetal gray, but it also has hexes on it. Basically, this is me expressing myself before I can buy Ace Combat 7. But yeah, no, it's real neat, and they have weird stuff that I haven't dived into, but like I saw that you can buy like a cat or a dog shaped gummy as just like a cosmetic thing, and I'm like, I don't necessarily want to use this, but this is adorable. I think I saw somebody posted a picture of their gummy ship, which is just like a cat or a dog in an armchair or something. And like, I'm glad you can do that. So yeah, the gummy mechanics are great. They're really what I wanted, was just this expansion to the way the gummy mechanic is handled. I do wish I stopped so much less. That the stopping and starting thing feels very, it doesn't feel natural to me. Like if you bump into something and you do a hard stop, or when you have to like start the engine when you go right away.
Oh, that's what you get when you're being in a sandbox environment.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's like that's an it's because it's an open world thing. They want to make sure they let you like stop and figure out what you're doing because it's not on rails. It's just the way they've set it up to like do the start and stop doesn't necessarily feel as natural to me as other parts, but it's not a big deal. That's like my only complaint is the starting and stopping confuses me sometimes. I'm like, oh, I'm stopped. I gotta do a thing. Push button. On the other hand, combat is very fluid. I've been trying a few different keyblades. So on the one hand, I'm kind of divided. I'm also like, it's weird you don't use, other than if you're using like the original core or like kingdom type keys, you don't keyblade a lot. On the other hand, boy howdy, I love that you've made all these diverse animations and effects and stuff, and they look really good. Like the Monsters Inc. one, you progress to claws and then to yo-yos, which is totally Sora, fucking slinging deadly yo-yos around. But yeah, no, it's pretty varied and fun. And I like how they get different emphasis. Like the one from the Tangled world is like very mystical and shoots a lot of beams when you do it, and its finisher is you create a giant tower that shoots lasers everywhere. That's cool. And somehow it's less time consuming than the Counter Shield one, or Counter Hero, which you turn into the Pegasus and fly around. I don't know. But yeah, the gameplay in 3 is still pretty natural. Once I got used to switching through triangles and ignoring attractions like 90% of the time, unless I'm actually in a good, like if I see like Splash Run or Teacups and I'm in a situation where I'm like, oh, there's a fuck ton of tiny little Heartless around me, that's a good point to use this. You just ignore it, and it flows fine. Team attacks are good. I'm a little annoyed that I feel like Donald only does Donald Meteor in the middle of boss fights when that's really an area clearing attack, but whatever. They flow real good, magic feels really good. So yeah, that's Kingdom Hearts. What is our time overall? We're at about 2 hours.
Honestly, I don't have anything really else I want to talk about. Like, I could get into anime, but again, it's something that we really can't discuss back and forth because you're not watching any!
No. I think now, finally, now that I'm doing Kingdom Hearts 3 at my own pace, I'm no longer doing my crazy Girls Frontline grind, I think I can actually finally, level out my schedule and do lots of different things in my life. I probably have to get over the hump in this,
in a few hours, Crunchyroll is actually going to be...
What were you saying?
In a few hours, Crunchyroll is actually going to be announcing the winners to the Crunchyroll Anime Awards.
So we'll talk about... That's something we can talk about because that's all last year's stuff. So we'll talk about that next week on What's Up.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Because we said we would. We talked through the announcements. You can actually go back and find that episode of What's Up. We'll work through it. The only other thing I want to briefly mention is RPG related.
Space?
No. Not necessarily about space. It is RPG related, though, but Fantasy Flight Games came out with their next Genesis book, Shadow of the Beanstalk, which is for their Android Netrunner universe, but it's basically a cyberpunk book. The official PDF isn't out yet, as usual. Luckily, this doesn't take as long as, L5R PDFs do. That was fucking forever, but, I've seen some cuts from there. It looks really rad, as both, specifically if you like the Android setting, which they wrote novellas about, and that was the setting for the now discontinued Android Netrunner card game, or if you just want to run generic cyberpunk stuff that's not necessarily, themed like Shadowrun, but also they already released a fantasy supplement, so you could totally smash them together and just run Shadowrun. But I really like Genesis. It's a great toolkit system, and I like a lot of what I've seen of what they've done with Shadow of the Beanstalk. So I will be super glad to see that, because we've talked a lot about how cool Cyberpunk is.
Oh, yeah.
We had a whole episode about that. So that's just really neat that that's coming out, and as usual, when that PDF actually comes out, I'll be sure to look into it and pass it on up to you, Lucky, to look over. Because we like Cyberpunk from both. We've run a lot of Eclipse Phase. We've done some other stuff. There was that time we very nearly ran the Sprawl, but didn't.
Very nearly.
So that's always super cool to see new products come out and see them kind of expand. And it's good for the toolkit, because, their fantasy rule set, Here's a Terranoth, included some new stuff. It included some new magic rules and some new weapon guidelines, but mostly this had this, heroic ability system as, a kind of, cool ult system, and that was really good to read as a game designer for other Genesis content. So, yeah. That's just a neat little thing I wanted to throw out there in case any of you guys care about tabletop RPGs, which I know some of you do. And Genesis is real neat. No, we're not going to do a whole hour. We don't have anything to talk about. I just wanted to mention that it's out. But we don't. We're not reading it, so I can't comment on anything specifically. That's really it for me. So I guess we will go ahead and wind down at a couple of hours here.
Yep.
It'll actually, with silence cutting, it'll probably be under a couple hours somewhere, but that's okay. We can do shorter episodes. I gotta go get back to Kingdom Hearts 3.
Also, voice, no, we're not doing time codes.
Yeah, no. To add the voice calling us out, he did for last week, because I know he does regularly listen to these off and on. But he was like, you guys should do time codes, and I'm like, that'd be great, except, see, the problem with that is that means I or Lucky have to watch our own 3.5 hour video, which is a big deal. And honestly, we on an executive level designed What's Up as a show, knowing we were like, we're not going to do fucking time codes, we're just going to talk about whatever. So we explicitly kind of built the feel of the show and built the quote-unquote structure, kind of on the idea that we weren't really going to do those kinds of restrictions. Like, I didn't take any fucking notes for this show. This was all me improvising based on my memory of stuff.
Yeah.
I admit, I practiced some of my statements about some stuff in my head, but that's just because I was like, no, I really want to make sure I hit these points. Namely, the climbing the mountain 3 times.
What the fuck? They changed it on me. What the fuck?
Oh no, what did they do?
I'm playing Girls Frontline, and the positions of the cannons have changed.
Why? Why would you do this to me? Like, there was a half second where I wanted to be angry, but then I was just dead inside right there when you said it to me. Like, why would you do this?
So now I have to go run around them and see if I can find another opening, because, if these cannons were daytime, yeah, I could brute force them. I can't brute force these cannons during the night.
No, because they're super accurate and they hit you really hard.
Yep, and I'm not accurate and I get hit really hard. Son of a bitch.
But yeah, so we'll go ahead and wrap up. Also, it was very funny. Once again, patrons listening on Axe was like, unless Voice wants to do the time codes. Yeah, no, hey, if you listen to the episode and you do time codes, I will give you a credit in the description. I will put your time codes up. I'm not doing time codes. Not even for this, which isn't quite 2 hours. Because the thing is, we could jot down when we start a topic, but that changes because we do like editing. I minimize noise, I truncate silence and stuff. So if there's like, half a minute of silence earlier in the episode, that means that gets compressed down. That means we've lost 30 seconds of time, and the time code is moved like 30 seconds minimum. It doesn't even have to be in the segments we're in, so it has to be the post-editing audio. Otherwise, it's useless. Because we do pause, and sometimes we talk over each other, and sometimes there's, like, background noise that I, like, cut out. We try to do an okay polished product with the tools we have. Anyway, yeah, I'm out of steam. Any more final yellies you want to get out about Girls Frontline, Lucky?
No, as this entire time, I've been working on grinding the first 2 chapters for Red Envelopes. I'm on the final one for chapter 2, then I can go into chapter 3, which I haven't finished yet. It's all going to be new territory, so everyone pray for Lucky.
Everyone pray for Lucky. I think that's a good one to wind down the episode.
Going deep into the snowstorm.
Fucking snow. What is it good for? Alright, that deep breath, which may have not stayed in the final audio, was me breathing deep to let you know that if you like this video, give it a like. If you have any comments on anything we said today, go ahead and leave in the comment section down below. I bet our Kingdom Hearts stuff will get some comments. That's been... We're for once plugged into the zeitgeist on something, Lucky, and this conversation is actually relevant. So we've been getting some feedback.
No, wasn't it like last episode we got like...
Somebody wrote a mini essay trying to explain how some of this stuff worked, and where other stuff happened where Nomura explained something that wasn't exactly what we thought, even though what we thought made sense. And I'm like, okay, I read it all. That's fine. I'm glad you wrote that, but also don't do that again. That's a big fucking comment. I appreciate you took that time. Don't do that again. It's not your life and your time is worth more than the time it took for you to write that comment.
Oh shoot, that reminds me. I'll save it for next time. But I actually found out some interesting background facts about the character designs in Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'll like make a note for that for next time because it was actually pretty cool.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Since we're already in the middle of our outro, we probably should leave that off.
Yeah.
Where was I? Comments. Oh yeah, that means if you're new here and you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Best way to keep track of our new videos and just keep this channel growing strong. And of course, even if you are already subscribed, you can hit that bell for notifications so you always know when we post a video. This one's shorter, so it shouldn't be like out at like a weird time and take forever to render. But hey, our posting schedule's not exact, and since I have to do social media alerts manually now, thanks YouTube, they do not automatically share when I post new videos, so I have to do that myself. We probably have more chaotic alerting of you that things are done, so notifications are a good way to do that. Like, I know a lot of people started doing that just as like, ring that bell and all that stuff. I'm not doing it for like a weird metrics thing. I'm literally letting you know that system exists, and it's a great way for you to know to actually get our videos when they come out. Just saying. And of course, like it says at the front of the show, you can support us on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can get access to this episode early in an audio format, downloadable directly to you. And this one will actually be directly uploaded and downloaded from Patreon. No weird fucking around with Mega or whatever. It's actually short enough. And it really helps us out. We're trying to, we're working on more patrons. Maybe do some AMAs. We're also working on a goal towards bartending with Lucky. If you like Lucky and want him to teach you how to make drinks and maybe share bartending stories. Bartending with Lucky.
I think I want to rebrand that as more something as with life with Lucky, where I can just do a bunch of things instead of just limiting it to bartending.
Okay, but we're selling people on the bartending. That's what the people want, Lucky.
I can still give them bartending.
Okay, good. That's what they want.
I mean, let's be real. People also want ASMR with Lucky. People want cooking with Lucky. People want a lot of Lucky doing stupid shit.
People want more Lucky. There's not enough Lucky in this channel. I accept that. That's okay. Hey, not everybody has the time and energy to make hour-long video essays about Legend of the Five Rings like I do. But I'm sure that people appreciate when I make those videos. I appreciate them anyway. They're fun. They're going in the backlog. They matter. Yeah, that's it. So we're doing stuff. We're doing content. At some point, we should probably this month record a Lucky rants of some kind.
You see, here's the thing. Every time I start ranting, you interrupt me, and then I lose the flow.
That only happened like once that one time recently. You haven't had a good rant since then. At least it wasn't on mic already. No, I'm talking about you gotta scroll up in the backlog and think about what rant you want to give. The strawberry milk cone was a good choice. In case you forgot that we do those. There's a couple out there which are pretty good. So go ahead and check those out. Alright, I'll stop faffing around. The episode's over now, guys. You can go home. Put the phone down. Go back to your business. Unless you can actually go home. Maybe you're at work. In which case, nice! Watching us at work.